The days after her father shut her down felt heavy. Amara moved through school like a shadow, silent and invisible. She stopped raising her hand in class. She kept her head down in the hallways. The notebook became her only safe place. Every night, she poured her heart into its pages. She wrote what she couldn't say. Her fears. Her anger. Her questions. Why did they choose him over me? Why does speaking the truth feel like a crime? Am I really that easy to forget? Her words were raw, honest, and full of pain. She hid the journal in a box under her bed, covered with old schoolbooks. She checked it every night, just to make sure it was still there. At school, Ms. Keller began to notice. Amara used to stay after class to ask about essays or get help with assignments. Now she packed up quickly and left before anyone could speak to her. Her eyes were dull. Her clothes hung loose. She barely spoke. One afternoon, Ms. Keller called out gently, "Amara? Everything okay?" Amara hesitated. For a second, she almost said something. But then she saw Troy outside the classroom, laughing with friends like nothing was wrong. She shook her head. "I'm fine," she mumbled and walked away. Ms. Keller sighed. She had a feeling something was wrong, but she didn't want to assume. Didn't want to get involved in something she didn't understand. She told herself if it got worse, she'd speak up. It got worse. Troy had started spreading lies. At school, people whispered when Amara walked by. "I heard she made up a story to ruin Troy's life. Jealousy is ugly, you know? She probably likes drama. That's what weird girls do." Even at home, the tension grew. Aunties started acting cold. A cousin told her she was selfish for trying to ruin Troy's chances. Raymond didn't say much, just avoided her more than usual. Amara felt like a stranger in her own home. One evening, she came back from school and found her bedroom door slightly open. Her stomach dropped. She never left it open. She rushed inside. Her pillows were on the floor. Her desk drawers pulled out. Her closet was half open. Her books were thrown around. She dropped to her knees and pulled the box out from under the bed. It was empty. Her journal was gone. She sat frozen for a long time. She didn't cry. She just stared at the empty box, her breath shallow. That notebook held everything, her truth, her secrets, her shame. The next morning at school, everything changed. She walked into the hallway and saw a group of students crowded around the bulletin board. They were laughing. Some looked shocked. Others looked curious. Her heart started to race. She pushed through the crowd and stopped. There, taped to the wall, were pages from her journal. Her handwriting, her words, blown up on paper for everyone to read. "I hate how invisible I am. I wish someone would see me. Sometimes I wonder if dying would make them notice." She stepped back, dizzy. The voices around her felt like knives. "Wow, she's so dramatic. No wonder Troy avoids her. Did she really write all that? That's messed up." She ran. Through the halls, out the gate, past the trees. She didn't care who saw her crying. She just needed to get away. When she got home, she went straight to her room. She locked the door and fell to the floor. The tears wouldn't stop. Her chest felt tight, like something inside her had broken. She had trusted that notebook more than anyone. It was the only place she had left. And now, even that had been stolen from her. That night, she didn't eat dinner. No one asked why. Raymond didn't knock. Troy didn't care. The house was quiet. She opened the bathroom cabinet and stared at the bottle of pills. Her hands were shaking. Her mind felt numb. She couldn't see a way out. She sat on her bed and opened a blank notebook. With trembling hands, she wrote just one sentence. "I tried." Then she swallowed the pills, one after another, until everything went black. It was her little cousin, Zara, who saved her. Zara had come into her room to borrow a hair tie. She found Amara lying on the bed, pale, not moving. At first, she thought Amara was asleep. Then she noticed the bottle on the floor. She screamed. Raymond came running. The ambulance was called. Troy stood in the hallway, silent, as the paramedics carried Amara out on a stretcher. Zara kept asking, "Is she going to be okay? What happened to her?" No one answered. And just like that, Amara was gone from the house. A girl who was never loud. A girl who never asked for much. A girl who had been screaming inside, but no one heard, until it was almost too late. Raymond finally arrived at the hospital the next evening. His face looked tired, but not with worry, more like annoyance. He didn't ask to see Amara. Instead, he walked straight to the waiting room, where Troy was already sitting with his arms crossed, scrolling through his phone. Dr. Evelyn Cross entered the room quietly. She held a folder in one hand and Amara's journal in the other. Her eyes were sharp, serious. "Mr. Raymond," she said, nodding once. "We need to talk." Raymond looked up. "How is she?" "She's stable. Still unconscious," Dr. Cross replied. Then she turned to Troy. "And you? I want to understand something." Troy leaned back in his chair, his tone casual. "Understand what?" Dr. Cross stepped forward. "Why you talk about Amara like she's trash? Like she's a problem to get rid of?" Raymond raised a hand. "Look, I know you mean well, doctor, but our family has been through a lot. Amara's always been different. She causes drama. She's emotional. I don't know what she told you, but she has a habit of twisting things. She wrote everything down, Dr. Cross said quietly, lifting the journal. In here. I've read it all. Troy laughed bitterly. So now a notebook is your evidence? It's more than a notebook, she said sharply. It's a cry for help. It's the truth, written by someone no one listened to. Troy stood up, clearly irritated. She almost cost me my scholarship with her lies. That's what this is really about. She couldn't handle being ignored, so she made something up to ruin me. She didn't make anything up, Dr. Cross said. She told the truth. She saw what you did. And instead of protecting her, you both tried to silence her. Raymond stepped forward, voice cold. You don't know our family. Don't act like you do. Dr. Cross met his eyes. I know enough. I know she tried to speak, and you shut her down. I know you covered for your son while your daughter fell apart. Raymond started to protest, but she cut him off. You want to know something else? She said. I was that girl once. A long time ago. I told the truth about someone I trusted, and no one believed me either. They said I was dramatic, that I wanted attention. I nearly died before anyone listened. The room went silent. I became a doctor so I could help people like her. And I won't let her story end like mine almost did. Troy rolled his eyes. So what now? You gonna post about it online? Tell the world your sob story. No, Dr. Cross said calmly. I already did what needed to be done. She walked to the window and looked out. I filed a report this morning, with the police. And I sent a copy of the journal, redacted, to a journalist I trust. Her story won't be buried. Raymond's face turned pale. You did what? You heard me. Troy laughed, but it sounded forced. You think anyone's going to care about this? It's just drama. She's just a girl. That's when two uniformed officers stepped into the room. Are you Troy Okafor? One of them asked. Troy blinked. Yeah, why? You're under arrest for assault. You have the right to remain silent. What? Wait, are you serious? Raymond stepped forward. Hold on. This is a mistake. He didn't do anything. The officers ignored him. They handcuffed Troy as he began shouting. This is crazy. You're ruining my life. Dr. Cross didn't look away. Her face was calm, but her hands were tight around the journal. Another officer approached Raymond. We have some questions for you as well, about possible obstruction and failure to report. Raymond shook his head. I didn't do anything wrong. I was protecting my family. The officer nodded slowly. We'll see. Come with us. As they were led away, the room went quiet again. The nurses nearby had stopped to watch. One of them whispered, Is that really happening? Dr. Cross exhaled deeply. She sat down for a moment, looking at the hallway that led to Amara's room. She's still fighting, she whispered to herself. But at least now the world is listening. In that small hospital, something huge had happened. The silence that had protected Troy and Raymond for so long was finally broken. And all it took was one girl brave enough to write her truth, and one woman strong enough to believe it. After that weekend at Aunt Vanessa's, Leah came home quiet but clear. She knew she couldn't trust her parents with her dreams anymore. They had lied to her face. She had missed something important. But not everything was lost yet. She still had the interview date written on her letter, Saturday, 10 a.m. If what her parents said was wrong, maybe the school never changed it. Maybe she could still make it. Leah waited until everyone in the house was asleep. Then she took out her old phone and used the neighbor's Wi-Fi from her bedroom window. She looked up the university's website. Her heart thumped as she checked the scholarship page. The interview date had not changed. It was still this Saturday. Her parents had lied. Leah sat frozen for a moment. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just sat there, holding her breath. Then she made a plan. The next day at school, she went to Mrs. Daniels during lunch. I need help, Leah said, voice low. Mrs. Daniels saw something different in her eyes. Not fear. Not confusion. Determination. Leah explained everything. About the interview. The lie. The trip to Aunt Vanessa's. Mrs. Daniels listened, shocked but calm. You still have time, she said. You can make it. But how? They'll never let me go. Mrs. Daniels thought for a moment. Tell them you're staying at a friend's for the weekend. I'll get you to the city. We'll figure it out. It felt risky. Leah had never lied to her parents before. But after what they did, she didn't feel guilty. She felt free. That Friday, Leah packed a small bag and told her mom she was going to a study weekend with a classmate. Her mom barely looked up from folding clothes. Be back by Sunday. No parties, Patricia said. Leah smiled. Of course. Mrs. Daniels picked her up a few streets away. They drove 3 hours to the university. Leah barely spoke. She kept going over her answers, her story, her dreams. The next morning, she walked into the university building wearing a clean blouse and pants that barely fit anymore. She shook the nerves out of her hands and stepped into the interview room. She did it. She answered every question clearly, passionately. She talked about her love for science, her late-night stargazing, her dream of building things that matter. The interviewers nodded. They smiled. One of them even said, You're exactly the kind of student we're looking for." After it was over, Leah called Mrs. Daniels. She cried in the hallway, happy tears this time. They drove home in silence. Leah felt proud. She had done something for herself, and no one could take it from her now. But then a week passed. Then two. She waited for the letter. Every time she saw the mail truck, her heart raced. But there was nothing. One afternoon, she got home and saw a white envelope on the counter from Stonemount University. Hands shaking, she opened it. Her eyes scanned the page. "We regret to inform you." Her stomach dropped. It didn't make sense. She rushed to her room and used her phone to contact the scholarship office. After waiting on hold, a woman picked up. "I'm just checking on my application," Leah said. "I had my interview 2 weeks ago." The woman paused. "Leah Thompson, right?" "Yes. We had your name on the list, but your application was withdrawn 2 days before the interview." Leah froze. "No, that's not possible. I never canceled it." There was silence on the line. "I'm sorry, but someone contacted us by email to cancel. From your email address." Leah ended the call slowly. Her heart pounded. She turned on the family computer and went to the email account her parents had helped her set up years ago, the one they still had access to. In the sent folder, there it was. A message to the scholarship board. "I, Leah Thompson, would like to withdraw from the interview process." It had been sent by her mother. The subject line said it all, regarding Leah's application. Leah's hands turned cold. It wasn't just a lie anymore. It was sabotage, a betrayal. Her own mother had taken her future into her hands and tried to throw it away. The dinner table was full, but Kemi felt completely alone. Everyone was there. Her husband Deji, his mother and father, a few cousins, even an aunt who had flown in from Houston. The food was hot, the table was set with care, but the air felt cold. Kemi sat quietly beside Deji, smiling politely, even though her heart was heavy. As usual, she had cooked most of the meal. She always did, even when she wasn't invited to. She thought maybe, just maybe, this time things would be different. Maybe tonight they would see her for who she really was, kind, respectful, patient. A good wife, a good woman. But halfway through dinner, Deji's mother started speaking. Her voice was loud and clear, cutting through the soft chatter. 5 years and still no child, she said, shaking her head. A real woman would be holding a baby by now. The room went quiet. Everyone froze, except for the sound of someone chewing slowly in the... Kemi stared at her plate. Her hands trembled slightly. She looked at Deji, hoping he would say something. Anything. But he just kept eating like he didn't hear his mother. Deji's mother continued. "We have been patient, but patience has limits. What exactly are you doing in this marriage if you can't give my son a child?" Still, Deji said nothing. He didn't even glance at Kemi. Kemi's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't let them fall. She stayed strong. Then his mother looked straight at her and said, "You were never wife material. My son deserves children." The words hit Kemi like a slap. Her heart broke right there at the table. Slowly, she stood up. No one stopped her. No one said a word. "I'm not hungry," she said quietly. Her voice didn't shake. She walked away from the table, her back straight, even though it felt like the world was crashing down behind her. As she left the room, no one followed her. Not even Deji. Outside, the night air was cool against her skin. She looked up at the sky and took a deep breath. Her heart was in pain, but one thing was clear. She couldn't keep living like this. The house was quiet, but Leah could feel the storm coming. She had just come home from school. The acceptance letter to Stonemount was folded in her backpack. The scholarship board had called again. They were offering her a spot in the summer bridge program, a place to stay on campus early, and full support. Everything she had worked for was finally happening. She stepped into the kitchen and saw her mother holding the letter. It had arrived in the mail while Leah was at school. Patricia's face was red. The paper shook in her hands. "You still went behind our backs," she said in a low voice. Leah stayed calm. "You went behind mine first. You are not leaving this house." "I'm already leaving," Leah said. "I start in June." Her mother walked toward her. "After everything we've done for you? We gave you a home, food, clothes. And this is how you repay us." That wasn't love. That was control. Gerald walked in from the hallway. He looked between them, then at the letter. "It's official?" he asked quietly. Leah nodded. "Yes. It's real. I'm going." Patricia turned to him. "You're not going to say anything?" He was quiet. Then to Leah, he said, "Do you want to go?" "Yes." He nodded. "Then go." Patricia's mouth dropped open. "You're just going to let her throw everything away?" "No," Gerald said, his voice louder now. "I'm going to let her live." He turned to Leah. "You're doing what I couldn't." Patricia was shaking. "She is a child. She's more of an adult than both of us right now." Then she snapped. Patricia slapped her hand on the table. "You want to end up alone? Far from your family? What happens when they chew you up and spit you out?" Leah looked her mother in the eye. "Then I'll fail on my own terms. Not yours." Silence. Patricia's voice dropped to a whisper. You're lost. No, Leah said. I'm finally finding myself. She walked past her mother to her room and shut the door. The next day, she started packing. Her mom didn't speak to her. Her dad helped fold her clothes. No words, just quiet movements, as if trying to say sorry without saying it. That night, Patricia came to Leah's room. She stood in the doorway. I only wanted to protect you. Leah didn't look up. You wanted to keep me afraid. You'll understand someday. Maybe, Leah said. But not today. Patricia stared at her for a long time. Then she walked away. The day Leah left, her dad drove her to the bus stop. They sat in the car for a while. When I was your age, he said softly, I wanted to be a doctor. My father laughed at me. I didn't try. Leah turned to him. You didn't fail, she said. You just stopped believing in yourself. He smiled, but it was sad. You didn't. I'm proud of you. The bus pulled up. Leah hugged him. It wasn't a long hug, but it was real. As the bus rolled away, she looked out the window. Her father stood alone, watching, his hand half raised like he wanted to say more but couldn't. Leah turned her eyes forward. She didn't know what would happen next, but she knew one thing for sure. This time, she wasn't running away. She was choosing herself. Mocht left wieder euch, nein, gibt's es auch noch. Auf nur für der Ferngaloin. Ja, der Herrthung ich auch wieder sich. Hoch, das für an. Her brush, her nurse, her fit left feel, her must venida. No, that's not like. We've it our mouth. There wolves. Girl shui. That number for me, girl no. He don't know wish. Her origin in the back of bomb at the rail. We sim you net. Mohammed full of fosters or that. Hearing it or must. Hey, on. Sir, that's mamma has not observed it. We are rather well what I went to see. Her no it's never. Law for his own the back of these did our seal. Her the law flits that like it's out. Mom or habits, but that cost it. No she him the knocks the world sniper. Failer and stum was failer vendage. Her stief in the time is there arts that cost it no. Her and it be loose nerve damage. Balks now in the windows deal. Slife do I he'll cast get it sure night gilded on must. The arc must. And the sill be. Find it up snow where the lot on. Here what's her she's getting improving. Banging what you will fluster knifeish. No lily from the dish. Master for the wish ready off do. Small her hammer for me, we sir that amish. It's such that opus the news and dutch the lock and sharing a surf. Her gelson dutch surfs away. Her tails aid we fitted out smart work there burmus. My dear for save sir. Sir, so sit. Nail loading get. Snemo merful it's the snap. Dab and the guy seal. Murmur with long service knit boomish. Says nice dunes and get like wins the safe win. Alpha from the gabe, so I'm not that's it make it. Get our sealers a weird sir get luffish. Failer and a master for the hurry for sharp. He is in the fit blum straight. Therapy because sub thought but seal. A year later, Leah walked across campus after her last final exam of the semester. The sun was warm on her skin, and the trees swayed gently in the breeze. She had just finished her first year of college, something she once thought might never happen. She stopped by the student center and bought herself a cold drink. As she stepped outside, she saw a girl sitting on the bench, crying quietly into her phone. Leah paused. The girl looked about her age, maybe younger. I don't care what they want, the girl said into the phone. It's my life. Leah sat down beside her without saying anything. After a moment, the girl looked over and wiped her eyes. Parents? Leah asked gently. The girl nodded. They're mad because I changed my major. They said I'm being stupid. Leah smiled softly. Mine told me not to even apply to college. Said it wasn't meant for me. The girl blinked. What did you do? I went anyway, Leah said. And I'm still here. The girl let out a shaky laugh. Aren't you scared they'll never forgive you? Leah looked up at the sky, the same sky she used to stare at from her bedroom window back home. I used to be. But then I realized, it's not about them forgiving me. It's about me choosing to live my life. The girl nodded slowly. Leah stood up, gave her a kind smile, and walked away. As she walked across campus, the sun setting behind the buildings, Leah felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Not everything was fixed. Not everything was forgiven. But she was finally where she belonged, not just in school, but in her own skin. And this time, no one could take that away from her. Hey besties, thanks so much for watching till the end. If you felt Leah's pain and strength, don't forget to like, share, drop a comment, and subscribe for more powerful, drama-filled stories. You won't want to miss the next one. Her friends invited everyone except her to their girls' trip, so she booked one seat beside. Stay tuned to see what happens next. Bye for now.